And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe.
I'm Brad Jackson.
Not even vaping Brad today. It's too
Dude.
fucking early, man. We haven't got the engine started yet.
I learned that Sunday morning, all of a sudden gas stations and stuff do not, blue collar guys don't work on Sunday. Some of us are still awake and alive on Sunday. Should be open by 8.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't go into town to racetrack and stuff because I want a little bit of a time crunch.
Try to do the back roads, and then all the
Yeah.
back roads places aren't open yet. Yeah, little behind the scenes. We had a scheduling conflict today, so we're recording way earlier than we normally are. So this is technically a breakfast cigar. And today I'm smoking the new CAO Stokk, I think it is, because it's very Viking looking from the band. Apparently, it's a collaboration with Danish pipe tobacco manufacturer Peter Stokkeby. Danish is not one of my accents that I can do, so I'm not sure exactly how that's supposed to be pronounced.
But can you eat a Danish?
I can, especially a cream cheese. That's some good shit. Yeah, this guy has a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper over Nicaraguan binders and a blend of Honduran fillers that also includes aged Andula tobacco in the kind of the first half of the blend, and then like a pipe tobacco in the second half of the blend. So it's supposed to have kind of like two flavor profiles as you smoke her through.
That sounds interesting. I'm gonna have to pick a couple of these up.
Oh, it's smoked Latakia is the pipe tobacco that's included in this, which are not smoked, fire cured Latika. So I'm expecting kind of like that Kentucky fire cured flavor as the cigar goes on.
Yeah, I'll be curious to the fire cure are great every once in a while, but not something I'll smoke on the regular.
Yeah, hint of it may be better than smoking like the straight up, because smoking the straight up like Kentucky fire cured, it just tastes like I'm chewing on a charcoal briquette. But that tobacco being blended with something else might actually be kind of good. And this is the newest entry in the CAO Arcana series, which is it's a kind of limited series they do to highlight kind of unique tobaccos that's not included in everyday smokes. I think they've done like the Firewalker, the Thunder Stick, and Mortal Coil has been the previous releases. Or not Thunder Stick, Thunder Smoke. I forgot about that. That was actually a pretty good cigar. I need to get me another one of those. But this week, speaking of Thunderstruck, and I don't know how this transitions, we're going to be talking about Fantastic Four and the latest Marvel movie. And if you've got to fight off a Galactus, you should call in the Strike Force. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code CigarNerds for 20% off your order. Comes in little tiny tin pouches that you can fit in your superhero pockets, I guess.
Yes.
Do superheroes have pockets? So those how do they carry their shit? Because most of those costumes, with the exception of Batman, not a lot of pockets. Spandex. Are they storing them in the prison wallet?
Yeah, Deadpool already solved that problem. Prison wallets.
Yep, prison wallets. But with that, we'll be right back with the main show. And welcome back. It's time to talk Fantastic Four.
I feel fantastic today. The Fantastic 2.
Yep, this is the latest entry into the Marvel Universe. Especially
we are
now that
officially in Phase 6 now. Did you
Yep.
realize we wrapped up Phase 5 and there wasn't anything memorable from it?
I didn't realize this was the start of. I know this is like. Is this the last movie before the next Avengers, or do we have anything else coming out?
I don't even know at this point. Like, stuff just releases and I'm like, yeah, I'll give that a try. Or it'll be like, I'll wait for that to come to streaming. And I kind of was on the fence about Fantastic Four anyway, but, my lack of time and procrastination kind of escalated the need that we go ahead and see this and have content.
Okay, no, we have, because we were going to talk about a TV series this week, but no one else had watched it. So we pivoted to. So yeah, we've got some more upcoming stuff before. So Avengers Doomsday is not the. We got one more Spider-Man movie coming out. So we got 3 more TV series coming out, which Eyes of Wakanda, which actually I think that's out now. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but that's an animated series. Marvel Zombies is getting its own series in October, and then Wonder Man, which is going to be a live action TV series. But then as far as movies, we've got Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out July of next year, and then Avengers Doomsday in December of next year. So yeah, we got a few things to. This is not the last thing before we get to Doomsday.
I couldn't remember what was on the schedule, so probably a good thing you just recapped for us.
I had to Google. I didn't remember that shit either. We're definitely like. I don't know. Do you feel like the summer movie window is kind of delayed a little bit? Like the first half of the summer, we had some movies, but it wasn't like one after the other. And now it seems like there's like 4 different movies in theaters that I want to see, and then I've just not only had time to see like one of them at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know if it's because we're getting, older or what, but the summer blockbuster season like pretty much was a wash for me. Like there was stuff that came out that I wanted to see that just.
Yeah, Jurassic Park I haven't seen, Superman I haven't seen, but they're all still in theaters all the way into August. But yeah, it seems like the August-September release window is like a little bit thicker than the
yeah, I mean,
June, like July release window.
For sure, and I don't know if that was by, some kind of, consumer demand says that, school ends and people are on vacations and traveling, so,
Well, I think Peacemaker Season 2 is out now, and I've not even started watching that yet. And I've been unemployed for the last couple weeks. I should have watched it. I had free time, and I still haven't watched it.
I don't know what
yet.
your excuse is. I've had the exact opposite. Just no fucking time.
No, my excuse was I spent like 3 days straight editing video from my Tennessee trip.
Yeah. Which I think we're going to talk about that later on too, right?
We're going to do a little blow and smoke later instead of science this week. But I got to say, one thing I appreciated about this movie is it wasn't a fucking origin story.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't an origin story. I like too that it was also self-contained. I didn't need to try to go back and revisit, years worth of content to figure out where we are now. Like,
because if spoiler alerts from here on out, this starts off, if you couldn't tell from the trailers, on a different Earth. That's why we've not had the Fantastic Four in the MCU yet. Because it was also part of, I don't know, Fox, Disney merger. They did not have the rights to the Fantastic Four. Was it Fox or Sony? I can't remember which one had Fantastic Four. But yeah, the regular MCU did not have their rights when the cinematic MCU started, so they were never included. And since we've established that there is a multiverse in the Marvel Universe, this takes place on Earth 828. So none of the other heroes have been mentioned or whatnot. So if you had to jump in somewhere and you didn't want to go back and watch everything, this one is kind of a clean starting point for any of you new MCU fans out there.
Well, and I gotta say too that, in my opinion, this was a lot better than the previous installments.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you judge it against other Marvel movies, it's good. It's not the greatest, but if you judge it against other Fantastic Four movies, this one was excellent.
Well, I mean, in a way, like it felt fresh. Like, for me, if I go to a theater to be wowed by visuals, and if your film doesn't look good, then I'm automatically detached from it because I'm like, why the fuck am I here when I could be at home experiencing the same, thing?
Yeah.
Like,
and I like that the aesthetic of it because it looked different than any other previous Marvel. Where let's say the MCU is our Earth, everything looks very real to our kind of timeline, where Earth is kind of set in more of a retro 60s sci-fi type.
Well, I love it because
everything like cars, it's all like slightly 60s, but then there's technology, like there's fucking robots and spaceships and flying cars.
You know what it reminded
like
me of after I really sat down and tried to dissect it?
Whatever, silver, was it Golden Age or Silver Age? I can't remember which one is the kind of the older style of comics. But yeah, no, what did it?
The Jetsons.
Yeah, very Jetson-y. It's I don't know if back in the day, if you ever went to like Disney World and they had like the Land of Tomorrow, where it's like, this is what we think the future is going to look like, but it was very 70s, 60s design. That's what this movie looked like. It looked like that retro futuristic shit. Like, if we had our shit together back in the 60s, what kind of cool technology could we have come up with? Which is, and like I said, it's different than any other of the Marvel movies so far. So I was like, yeah, now that you mentioned, I didn't even think about it until you mentioned, but yeah, it's very Jetson-y, like what we thought the future would look like back in the day.
And here we are, 2025. We still don't have our flying cars.
I mean, we do, but they're basically just fucking giant drones.
I'm personally not driving a flying car, so, it hasn't happened.
No. But yeah, but to go back to what I was saying, this is the third iteration of the Fantastic Four. We've had the original Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba and Michael Chiklis and all that. And like, yeah, people forget that Captain America used to be Johnny Storm. And then we had the horrible reboot that no one saw, that just bombed horribly because they're basically like, we got to do another movie to keep the rights. And it from all accounts, it kind of sucked ass. I don't want to see that origin story again. We've already seen it twice in like modern history. I don't want to see them getting irradiated and having to deal with coming to terms with their powers. I like that this was set basically 2 years into being the Fantastic Four. So they're already like world famous heroes of the Earth, so there's like, you're jumping right into the Fantastic Four doing Fantastic Four shit instead of like having to deal with them becoming the Fantastic Four. I don't think they've really done that with any of the characters so far that that they've introduced. So I was like, cool. We know the origin story of the Fantastic Four. We don't fucking need to see that shit again. I want to get straight into some them doing fantastic shit.
Which I don't know. This was a little bit different. A lot of space in between. Like it tries to err more so on the family side of things, which it was a little bit different. I went back after we finished the film, and I'm like, man, this movie was only an hour and 55 minutes, which in retrospect is perfect, but the spacing of it, like there were times that it felt more than a 2-hour long movie.
Yeah, there's definitely them having to like deal with family drama, and adjusting from like, we're being superheroes to now we have to like be parents, and how's that going to change the it's easy to risk your life, but then once you're responsible for another life, like, can we do this hero thing? So yeah, there was like a lot of kind of action in the climax and maybe action in the middle. But yeah, then there was a lot of these like kind of emotional family style shit.
I don't know that some of the emotional stuff quite hit the mark. I mean, there was one point in all of it that the theater just kind of went silent, and that's the only time that I felt like that emotional response mark was hit. The rest of it, I was kind of like, all right, sort of Fast and Furious, we're all family.
Family. But then again, I think it was, some of that was intentional, because I've seen Pedro Pascal act. I know that dude can be like, portray emotion, but he was very like emotionless through like I mean, there was parts where he was
Well, I think that was,
but that's the character. Reed
by
Richards
design,
is like
yeah.
all brain, no heart. You know, it's like, so it's like him being kind of like, you know, flat, I think was like intentional until those, and it kind of made it more impactful, those moments when he did like break and get emotional about something.
No, I mean, I think the character portrayals, I guess we can go ahead and get on that. Probably some of the best actual portrayals that I've seen yet. You know, from, like you said, Pedro Pascal. You know, yeah, all brains. You know, if it's not logical, you kind of remove. Like
everything's
I think
math and stuff, and he's like
that character, I absolutely felt like hit the mark. You know, the biggest character I was surprised with was the Thing. You know, it wasn't just, oh, it's clobbering time. You know, back to back to back to back.
I love that the running joke. I'm like, no, I don't. That's just something they put in the fucking cartoon. I don't actually say that.
Yeah,
And that's kind of Ben Grimm in like the comic books. He's like actually like a nice dude. He just he's
Yeah.
people kind of equate him with the Hulk, and it's like, no, he doesn't have the rage of the Hulk. He's got the strength of a Hulk, but he's actually like a good dude, and like
he enjoys cooking and
Yeah.
you know the finer side.
does
of
charity
things.
work, and he goes and visits fucking orphans and stuff. He's like or like a really good dude. He looks like a freaking monster. So like, yeah, some people get him like, oh no, like especially in like a lot of the old like 90s 2000s animated stuff. He's like, yeah, he's basically like a brown Hulk. And I'm like, no, that's not Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm's like, he doesn't really want to be a monster. He's trying to be like a nice dude. He just has like, but yeah, that build up that, everyone, come on, man, clobbering time. He's like, no, I don't actually say that. And then finally at the end, fucking Johnny's like, giving him the old fastball special. He's like, come on, say it. What time is it? No, I don't want to say it. What time is it? Fine. It's clobbering time. And I'm like, yes, they did the thing.
The Thing did the thing.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, like I got some, like I don't know if that was like, are we past the rubber suit era? Was that practical? Was it CGI? My eyes can't tell anymore. Like
I don't.
the beard was kind of weird for me. Like it almost gave Thing like Thanos vibes.
Yeah, the Rock beard was pretty dope. Like, but I say he looked better once he got the beard. Like,
Yeah.
pre-beard Thing just looked. I mean, I don't.
I remember
I've not
from
seen
the
the
cartoons
behind the scenes. I don't
and
know
it
if
just, the cartoons. It was always kind of like, it's a big potato.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of. I don't want to say the CGI was bad. He looked weird, but it fit with the aesthetic of the movie. Like, it looked more like a early comic book Ben Grimm. So it maybe not look as cool as like some of the newer iterations, but it fit. It fit the kind of the I guess time era they were going for. That, so it like, even though like it kind of looks weird, it fit the movie.
Yeah.
So-
No, I mean that was a.
So it was probably intentionally a little a little weird.
I mean, I'm not necessarily like I said, is it a movie that I would rush out and see again tomorrow? Probably not so much, but I went into it with little to no expectation and came out pleasantly, surprised.
Yeah, Eben Moss-Bachrach playing the Thing. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. We already mentioned Pedro as Pascal as Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic. And Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Might remember him from a little show called Stranger Things, where he played Metallica on to fight demons. I liked it. He was actually
I thought this was
pretty damn good Johnny Storm.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these characters really kind of, hit their marks as far as, the portrayals and what you get, going back to the comic and animated verse, what you have in front of you today. There wasn't anybody that I was like, man, they just really missed the mark here.
Yeah, and I like kind of his take on the character too, because in the past, Johnny Storm's kind of been portrayed as just a dumb playboy. He's like, I'm like a fame whore, and But with this one, yeah, he's like, yeah, all right, Johnny likes space, Johnny likes girls, naked chrome chick shows up, of course I'm gonna fall in love. But then at the same time, he's like, he's the guy that like broke the alien language, and
he's like, I did something that smart people do.
yeah, like broke the alien, and like basically one who spoiler convinces Silver Surfer to maybe feel guilty about what she's doing, and kind of offered to make the sacrifice play to save everybody. But in previous ones, it's like, yeah, they kind of portray him as like, oh, he's just a dumbass. The only reason he was on that space mission is because he's like Reed's brother-in-law. But then like, oh no, you see, he has actual skills. He's not just the pretty boy that they let tag along who end up becoming a superhero. Like, no, he's got legitimate skills. He just also is kind of a playboy.
I did like the joke too of, is the board part of the body or is the board separate?
Yeah, he's like constantly like, he's like, no, it fucks with me, man. I gotta figure. I need the answer. Yeah, when she gets like blasted at one point and falls off the board, he's like, so the board isn't part. He's like, I finally have my answer. I get that. There's sometimes you're like, there's like a question that pops in your head, you just get obsessed with it. You're like, no, I don't need to know this, but I need to fucking know this. It's like, no, we have to stop everything and Google this and figure out what the fucking answer is. But no, it's like, yeah, it's like, is the board? No, or he's just like, how can I bang her if the board is part of the body? That was...
No, that would have been like, one of the older renditions. Like, I'm glad that they, that they gave everybody a chance kind of, to have some depth without, really going, like you said, it being a whole nother origin story.
Yeah.
Even with Galactus, like I like the way that they did Galactus and portrayed him, and then even the baby, like that's another big character that's like, they could have very easily went over the top and missed the mark, but instead it's like that makes sense. Like
yeah, they could have like made it like, fuck, oh, like let's use the baby as a weapon, and he's like all powerful. Where it's like, no, he's just a baby, until he kind of like does some like healing magic. But other than that, it's like he appears to just be a normal ass baby. We don't know why freaking Galactus wants to eat him or become him. I'm not sure how that was gonna work.
No, it's gonna be like, hey, you're all powerful. So here, you now have the insatiable hunger that I have. So it's like, well, if you're not hungry anymore, Galactus, what the fuck are you gonna do?
That, and I kind of like the way they...
You just gonna go and team up with a kaiju somewhere?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, that was the one thing. Is like Galactus eats planets, and sometimes he's portrayed as like freaking Unicron size, like giant as fuck. And like we've seen from the trailers, him walking around alternative New York like he's a kaiju, and I'm like, that seems awful small for Galactus. But the scale of it when they go and like, oh, he has like a giant fucking spaceship, even though he's a giant fucker himself. He's got a planet-eating fucking Unicron-looking spaceship. That
he's got like, a dildo
sitting in his like massive throne. But like they did a good job of like portraying that scale in those earlier scenes where they go to like to like find him and try to negotiate before he comes to Earth. Because once he gets to Earth, he's like, you look kind of like a small boy.
Well, I mean, then again, like, be like, oh, I can't step foot on your planet, I'll destroy it. Like, that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, it was like, that would have, yeah, you kind of...
Maybe he's kind of like Ant-Man, Maybe he's really big and he can shrink down to kaiju size.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, the whole time I was like, where's Godzilla when you need him? Reed Richards like, I've got a plan. We need a kaiju.
Yeah. I don't know. I was definitely getting, some kaiju or,
Or did you watch the last season of Marvel What If? The freaking Pacific Rim episode where they built the giant robots to fight like the Hulk monsters, Yeah, that's what I expected Reed Richards to build a freaking freaking was it Power Rangers mech mech robot to fight Galactus. If this had been our Earth, yeah, Tony would have had a fucking
No,
giant suit.
Thing would have been in a Hulkbuster-ish armor, type
Yeah,
deal. But I'm glad that things didn't go that route because like you said, the fact that we were just able to jump right into the Fantastic Four, being the Fantastic Four, the visuals and everything,
yeah, I do like.
for it to be familiar at the same time, it felt sort of refreshing.
Yeah, I do like how they started with kind of like a TV show about the Fantastic Four. They're basically doing like they've been our heroes for the last, well, I think it was 2 years. Like, here's kind of like a highlight video of all they've done in that time to catch us up, without doing like a fucking Star Wars scroll or something. Like, here's what's previously happened. They put it in this like, Fantastic Four news highlight video, and you see them fighting all these like minor villains from the Fantastic Four universe, and it's like it reminded me of like old 60s or 70s TV specials.
Wasn't one of the directors or producers, didn't they also do WandaVision?
I believe so. Maybe.
Because that to me, like, we both enjoyed, WandaVision and shit.
Yeah, for that kind of old style. Directed by Matt Shackman from a screenplay by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, and Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer. Yeah, I don't remember who did all of the WandaVision stuff, but yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, it reminds me of some of those earlier WandaVision episodes.
It's too early. I'm trying to get comfortable.
There is no comfort.
I'm just running on sheer will and no caffeine.
Looks like directed by Matt Shackman was also the kind of the main director of WandaVision.
Yeah, that's I think that's where some of these visuals and stuff were coming from, which was nice. It was very, very nice.
Yeah, it was at least different than what we've seen before. And I don't remember his name, but the little freaking assistant robot character,
Herbie or what?
Oh yeah, I think it was. I think it was. It might have been Kirby because in an homage to Jack Kirby, the inventor of, like, it was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were like the two guys who created most of the Marvel universe. So this was kind of a homage to him, maybe.
I mean, you gotta have a droid.
But for something that doesn't like ever speak English, I had no problem to understand what that little fucker was like saying most of the time. So it's like for a CGI character, I'm like, dude's got some personality.
Well, I think that's kind of also a running thing. It's like, what is going to be the next thing to take off? So now, like, that's going to become a pop figure and a collectible item.
Yeah,
and
I like how, like, old style computer, you had the like data tapes, and that was like his data tapes was basically his face, and then they went. And when they're like, we gotta go to space and see if we can find this Galactus dude, it's like, let me switch his programming. It's like, freaking just like ejects his face like an old cassette player, and it's like, and it's like the one he pulls out says like home, and then he puts like space in. He's like, all right, gotta take out your butler programming, put your flight crew programming back in.
But even like the time jumps, I liked how they did that, when they actually portray the FTL faster than light, and it's like they're in that wormhole, and like all of that looked really cool. I like that effect.
Of like the Star Wars prequels where they had those like hyperdrive rings that were up in space, so they're like, you know, they had to like link up with that to go into hyperspace instead of, you know, the smaller ships didn't have their own kind of equipped faster than light engines. But it did kind of look like a space dick.
Ah,
But then again, Jeff Bezos' fucking rocket also looks like a space dick, so it's
everything can look phallic if your brain insists on everything being phallic.
I'm like, fly it into the giant space cock ring before you go fuck Thanos or Galactus.
It's like, yeah, we're just gonna casually go and have a conversation. But
Yeah, and you see that because Reed Richards and Tony Stark are arguably the two smartest people in the Marvel universe. That when he meets Thanos, you definitely saw the difference between the two, because he's like, "Have you come to beg?" And Reed says, "No, we've come to talk." Tony would have said, "No, we've come to threaten."
yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, you can definitely see the negotiation, the different negotiation styles." You know, it's like when Tony first faced Loki. He's like, you know, if we can't defend this Earth, we'll damn sure avenge it.
yeah. I don't.
In fact, that was the same line. "Have you come to beg?" is what Loki said to Tony in the first Avengers movie, and he's like, "Oh no, I've come to threaten."
But I don't. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, it just worked for this film. Like I said, I'm glad that there's differences where it's not just okay, yeah, you got two really smart guys, so everybody's gonna be Tony Stark. And I think too, like, you know
And they also had that kind of similar point where that was the Ultron problem, was Tony trying to protect the world. And then you see Reed going into baby prep mode, and he's like, "We've got to put up all these gates in the house. We got to put up all these outlet plugs, all this other thing." And then like the final thing was, "Oh, I've tracked like all of the criminal organizations in the city and turned over the information to the police." And you just see like flying cop cars running all over the city.
Yeah.
And then Johnny's like, "So you baby-proofed the world?" It was like, to him, that was the, logical next step. I've baby-proofed the house. What if we go outside the house? All right, let me baby-proof the city. And just keep moving out from there. Which could,
I don't know. That whole skit of them baby proofing and it just thing constantly, like, fuck, this isn't supposed to be here. Like between baby gates and
or when Johnny installs new like fire alarms all over the place, and then Johnny comes flying in and sets off all the smoke alarms. It's like, yeah, if you live with a guy who's constantly on, catching on fire, you might want to reprogram your smoke detectors to detect. Nope, that's just Johnny. Good thing. I'm surprised he didn't hit him with like a sprinkler. That would have been, he just comes in, all of a sudden freaking fire extinguishers pop out of the wall and hose him down. That I do like. After they go and see Thanos, and I keep saying Thanos, Galactus, and he's like, "All right, I'll spare Earth. Give me your baby." And they're like, "Fuck off, we ain't doing that." And then they're getting chased by Silver Surfer. A lot of times in these superhero movies, it's like, "Oh, the superhero can't kill people." It's like, we got to figure out a way to stop him. And like, you saw like Mother come out of like, because Sue Storm's in labor at this point, and she's like, "Johnny, kill her. Don't stop her." And he's like, "No, you fucking kill her. She wants to take your nephew." And he's like, "All right, finally meet a girl, and of course I got to blast her." But yeah, there was no like, half-assing it. At that moment, she's like, "No, you smoke that bitch." And I'm like, "All right." And especially from her, because she was the more like ambassador type person. I mean, she was the one that was like starting these charities or like working on world peace and bringing all the countries together to like work together for a better future. And like she's like, no, you go kill that bitch. The ambassador is out. Like fucking the warrior is in. Like let's stack bodies. I was like, all right, I see you, Sue.
Yeah, that was. And then too, like the opposition felt real.
Yeah, because of course, like Will Smith said it in or not Will Smith, but Men in Black. People are a person is smart, people are dumb, and they come back and like, well, did you defeat Galactus? And you're like, not yet. What happened? Well, he offered us a deal, but it was priced too high. He wanted us to give him our son. And then everyone's like, well, so your kid's more important than like the rest of us? Like, anyone's fuck yeah, like they're a parent, like yeah. And then it takes people start protesting them, like you should have just gave up the fucking baby. And then finally Sue goes out there and is like, hey, here's the little baby that you motherfuckers want us to sacrifice, and like I will not give him up to protect the Earth, but you are all also our family, so I won't give you up to protect him. We're gonna save both of y'all's asses. Just calm the fuck down and go the fuck home.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, she got a point.
Like just those initial, knee-jerk reactions. Oh, one life for, hundreds of millions, billions, ever how many people are on this rendition of Earth 828.
Yeah. I mean, Spock said it. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yeah, I can mix my
which that was universe. That was, that was handled better than I thought it was. Like, it could have been very easily like, all right, well, we can go to space, we can do all these things, so, fuck you, peace out.
And that's what I expected to happen because of the post-credit scene in Thunderbolts. You see the Fantastic Four ship arriving in the proper MCU. I think 616 is... Yeah. So I was like, are they just going to, like, fail to defeat Galactus and be like, flee and leave everyone? And that's how the Fantastic Four ends up in the main reality. But no, they did not. They stayed and protected the Earth. So I was like, all right, I don't know what's going to motivate them to come to find the Avengers, but at least it wasn't them like, we got our ass kicked and we are abandoning our Earth.
Tails tucked between our legs. Like, we're out.
Yeah. They could have very done like a Empire Strikes Back where like the movie ended on a big down note and but they didn't. They left it mostly positive.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just keep going back to, yeah, it was enjoyable. It wasn't anything like we necessarily haven't seen. Like, I think I'm just getting to the point now where it's just like...
I do agree, though, there are certain points that they may have lingered a little too long on. For example, the gag of the three of them can't figure out how to put a baby seat in a flying car. Like, that was funny, but it wasn't like 5 minutes funny.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, especially since it's like.
But then again, too, like you and I never having like young kids, like.
I'm sure that's like absolutely real.
Like, being like, we can't figure this out. So then you're like, okay, I'm going to the fucking fire department or police station, and somebody.
That's exactly why they have those services at the your local fire department, because apparently that shit is pretty complicated. But yeah, it's just funny watching the world's smartest man and two other guys
he just
like trying to figure
all
it
of
out.
These safety features, just to be over the top. And
it's like I'm pretty sure you built that shit. That's not something you picked up at like Retro Future Walmart. Like you still can't figure out how to get it into your car. But yeah, it was funny, but it wasn't like 5 minutes funny, especially like post climax. This is like in the wrap up of the movie, and it's like, all right, we're getting ready to land this thing. You're gonna make me sit here watch a 5 minute scene of y'all digging with a
yeah, and I don't really know
baby carriage.
I can't really pinpoint the maybe it was just the way that the film was shot, or edited, or what, but like it definitely felt longer than an hour and 55 minutes, and that's both post credits. That's everything for that hour and 55 minutes. Then again, maybe just my I could have been thinking about, fuck, I've worked late. I got to be up early, and it's supposed to be my one day off, and god damn it, what am I doing with my life?
I'm ready for my nap.
I'm getting old for this shit.
But yeah, it's definitely yeah, we've gotten used to some like 2 hour, 3 hour fucking run times lately. It's kind of nice that they're like, all right, let's try to tighten it up a little bit. And then there's other movies where it's like that runtime wouldn't work because you're like,
No,
there's such a huge plot that you feel like they had to cram everything into, like, how are you going to wrap this up in, like, the 15 minutes we have left. So yeah, I think this was a kind of a good balance. Like, they didn't maybe overextend it a little bit, but they didn't like cram it into like, an hour 20 or something. They didn't like try to compress the story. I think it.
No, I mean it worked, and there were things that I was wondering, like, how are they going to do this? And I think they executed on those things well, without, like you said, trying to go into a whole lot of unnecessary detail.
The Scooby-Doo-esque trap at the end, though, and I'll say that, like, you see them the more like old style comic booky fighting when they're kind of going through like their previous battles and shit. They had that whole plan. It's like, all right, we're gonna use the baby as bait, but we're gonna do like a bait and switch. Johnny's gonna blind him, and then we're gonna switch the fucking baby carriages so he gets the decoy baby and lures him into the trap. But I'm gonna put this giant caution tape around the trap and hope giant spaceman doesn't see. Like, Reed, you could have like just, why did you have to use the lines? Or you could have like painted them white so it looked like part of the whatever, the lines in the road.
Well,
you're the world's smartest man, and you put a giant caution sign on your trap.
Well, either way, the trap was not inconspicuous in itself. Like, if you're in the middle of the city and its buildings, and all of a sudden it's like, what are these 3 probes here?
That his minion had already destroyed the rest of them around the world, so you think maybe he would have knew what those things were. But yeah, it was I mean, if it had worked, the movie would have been over quicker, and we wouldn't have had like the dramatic fight scene between all of them versus Galactus. So it had to happen, but the fact that it was so obvious, there was like, come on, man. You could have had him like, the fucking caution tape was just stupid. But without it, we wouldn't have gotten like the epic battle to come. But yeah, the moment, I'm like, oh, that's dumb.
But at the same time, like, we live in a world.
That was some fucking Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner type shit. It's the bird seed with the box and the wooden string.
I mean, I feel like that would have worked.
That's when they should have built a giant box to drop on Galactus.
I mean, how many warning labels and shit are on, I mean, fucking everything now, and people are still dumb. Like, I get it. People are dumb. So the yellow caution tape was probably, for the stupidity of most everybody else. Like, if you're dumb enough to go and, be like, hey, Mr. Galactus.
And I like the Mole King, because they added the whatever Subterranea, and it's the dude from Cobra Kai. That guy is like, every time I see him pop up in a movie, he is always like plays these weird, hilarious characters. I'm like, I don't remember that guy's name, but if I see him popping up in a movie, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be funny. Like that dude plays a plays a good character.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we want to move all of our people underground.
I gotta negotiate with the mole people.
Hey, mole people are real, apparently.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh no, I know y'all need my help. I want him to ask me. And he's like, fuck you, mole man. Finally, he's like, all right, everybody. He's like, sorry, Sue, your husband just pisses me off. Like, what do you need? I'm I'm good to go.
Everybody get on the bus.
But when Galactus's ship appears in Earth orbit, and you just see like the red thing. It's like definitely gave me Unicron feelings there. I'm like, I was like, is that Unicron or is that Galactus? There's a butthole in the sky.
Or is it Thanos? Because you keep talking about Thanos.
Yeah, I know. Or we have Unicron show up and fight Galactus. Like, no, I came to eat this planet. Fuck you, this is my planet. I was here first. I'm pretty sure the Transformers are a Marvel property at this point. Maybe we have like a crossover.
I'm surprised we haven't got more of that. But then again, I
know
guess
supposedly they're planning a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie. That'll be
all of these
fun.
films are getting so expensive to make and everything else. It is like,
or they tease something in a movie that maybe didn't perform that well, and it's like we have to wait like a decade for them to actually pay that off because they're like, do we do it? Do we not do it? Does the studio go out of business before we actually get that out?
I do know I need to wake the fuck up.
Oh. So what are you and what's the I do like the we finally there was teases of Doom because we know Doom's coming, but we don't know if Doom is in the proper MCU. But apparently he's from Earth 828. That's that kind of explains like because I always wondered where they're. We know Robert Downey Jr. is playing Dr. Victor Von Doom, but we don't know if he's like how they're going to explain that he looks like Tony Stark, or is he just going to like wear the metal mask the whole time, or is he some kind of variant from another Earth? And I guess we got that answer because when you see I don't know if you noticed it or not, when you see like Sue's big like UN type meeting where she's trying to get the world to come together, it's showing like the different kind of countries, and you see the Latveria delegate is like not there. They're like, fuck you, we're not coming to this meeting, which Doctor Doom is the ruler of the fictional country of Latveria in the MCU. So it's like, I was like, ooh, there's Doom's country. And then at our post credits, which jumps like 4 years later, so now the baby's I guess there'd be is a 4-year-old considered a toddler? I don't know how that math works, but yeah, she's like reading him books and stuff, and she's like, oh, I gotta go find his favorite book, and she comes back and there's Doom, talking to the child, and it's like, Doom. And I wonder if because they've teased it because we know Avengers Doomsday is the new one coming up, but Doom in the Marvel universe has been a villain. He's also been a good guy. He's kind of that lawful evil where he's like, if this benefits me and my country, I will help. If it threatens, me and my country, then I will, not help. It's like what's in it for my nation of Latveria. He's very like a more reasonable villain. He's not like the crazy like chaos for chaos sakes. Like Doom's always got an agenda, and he has been honorable at times because he sees himself as a king. So I'm wondering if Doom's going to be helpful or hurtful in the new one.
I don't know. Or is it one of those where he starts off villainish and then
something bigger threat happens and he has to...
Yeah, then it's like,
team
Okay,
up.
out of my, own selfishness, like we now are going to do this just because it's going to benefit me.
Yeah.
But as soon as this benefit is over and something else doesn't, then I'm back to being a villain.
Because he was like, the whole him might not being a villain, you see him like on a knee talking to the child, and he's got his mask off. You don't see his face, you just see the mask in his hand. So dude in a robe with a chrome face shows up. It's probably going to scare the fuck out of a child, but he is like kind enough that he actually like gets down to the child's level and shows him his face, that like I'm human. I'm not like some monster here to attack you. That kind of shows a lot about what potentially the
But
character
then again,
might be.
is it because this child is going to have, potential godlike powers? Like, do
I don't want to
really
freak him
wanna
out
be
and get fucking squished like a bug just
Yeah.
in case this kid's like,
like right off the rip, like nope, you're vanished or
it's like,
whatever.
coming up to an angry dog, you kind of like, here, smell my hand. So, it's like, was it that situation? He's like, let me get on this kid's level and show him my face so he doesn't like, rip me in half if he's actually a cosmic power. Or do we see Doom be a villain, and that's why we see the Fantastic Four coming to the MCU, because they need help to take on Doom on their Earth?
I don't know. Like,
Or is that Doom jacking? Because we never saw the Fantastic Four in Thunderbolts. We just saw the ship. So is that Doom jacking the ship and invading Earth 616, and the Fantastic Four are going to have to show up to help the Avengers at some point?
yeah, I don't know. In a way, I kind of wish stories would just be more self-contained, because when it comes to the Avengers, like, it's like, okay, they got a strong guy, they got a smart guy, what do they not have? Oh, a guy that has the ability to stretch. They don't have
A guy that can reach high shelves.
like, I'm probably really oversimplifying and downplaying,
The joke that I
everybody's
wanted to
benefit,
see,
but
that I did not see, is when Galactus gets a hold of Reed and starts like stretching him out to his breaking point. The whole time I was waiting for him to let go and to snap him like a fucking rubber band across the city. I wanted to see him launch him like a fucking rubber band. And I'm like, oh, they didn't give me that joke.
I think we were all waiting.
Yeah, that's probably why they didn't do it, because it was like so obvious that, cause he's stretching him. He's even got him kind of at an angle like you would launch a rubber band. I'm like, oh, is he gonna launch his ass to like?
But he wouldn't go across the city. It'd be in outer space somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's one way to space travel.
Faster in life via rubber band. We're gonna slingshot his ass. Oh.
That was the part that killed it, though, for me. Like that whole sequence of, oh no, she used all of her power, and for all intent and purposes, she's dead because I did a very piss poor attempt at CPR.
This is the future. Y'all don't have like a AED laying around where you just like shock her back to life. It's like, I'm the smartest man in the world. I've not invented an AED.
Like, and then the baby just, crying out in anger. Be like, you idiot, you failed at CPR. Let me fucking do this. That was probably the only, like, I think about that times when the theater got quiet. Like, that was the only, like, emotional moment, I think, that really I could tell hit, throughout this film, there was a lot of quiet banter and stuff, which usually
Most of it's me talking shit, because especially when there's not a lot of people in the theater. It turns into Mystery Science Theater. Of like, if I see a joke, I'm like, I have to say it. But yeah, it was like, I'm like, are they? Because at one point you think, because all right, Sue goes like Super Saiyan and is like, the thing has my baby, not the thing, but that thing, and I'm gonna use my force field powers to push this giant motherfucker into the teleporter. But then he starts coming back out, and there's still like 10 seconds before the thing closes, and like you see Johnny like, tell Frankie that his uncle loves him, and he's like gonna go sacrifice himself to knock him into the hole, and then the Silver Surfer shows up at the last moment because he actually convinced her that she was doing the wrong thing, and she stops him and sacrifices herself to knock him into the teleporter, and then you get Sue dying, and it's like, well, they don't have to change the marketing. There's still 4 of them, but I'm like, this is the first we get of the Fantastic Four. Are we really going to kill? They've just been introduced in the MCU. Are we really going to kill one of them right off the bat? But I'm like, no. There's Space Baby. There's going to be some kind of like his magic's going to open up I was like, yeah, they're going to let this moment sit for a minute and scare the crap out of everybody, and then Space Baby is going to heal Mama here in a second. That's and of course I'm like, all right, yeah, I was right. Space Baby did some space stuff.
The baby did proper CPR.
Yeah. Your chest compressions are not deep enough. And the whole that would make doctor's appointments like way easier. It's like, oh, you want to see the baby? Here, let me turn my stomach invisible so you can see the baby inside. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Hey doc, I've got like a pain in my appendicitis. Well, let me see. All right. Oh, yep, you definitely got appendicitis. I can see it. Don't have to cut you open to find out. Yeah, we're gonna prep you for surgery now.
Yeah, goes through all that effort to build this fancy scanning device, and it's like, look, if you're that invested, boop, there's a baby.
Or it could be a good prank. You're like, I'm gonna show you my titties, and then as soon as you take your shirt off, she turns invisible. You're like, damn it! You got me again, Sue. I did like, because in the comic books, Johnny and Thing kind of have that 2 brothers picking on each other relationship, and that one where they're both like sitting in his bedroom and like arguing over who has to go check on Stu, and Reed's like, yeah, you should go downstairs. Not gonna do it. Yeah, thank you for going downstairs. Oh no, I appreciate it. For you going downstairs. I'm definitely just back and forth like fucking with each other, and then she like pops up and scares the shit out of both of them. It was like, oh yeah, that's that Thing Johnny relationship from the comics. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, as far as team dynamics and everything, I think they hit their mark. Just, I don't know.
They could have trimmed a few things or made a couple scenes a little more.
I mean, yeah, it's easy for me to critique, but then again, I'm like, if I was in the director helm, what would I do differently? And it's like, well, for one, I would have never did anything with Fantastic Four, so.
Yeah, like I said, if you compare it to...
I never really read much of the comics. Most of my experience with Fantastic Four was, through Saturday morning cartoons.
And I like that they had that cartoon in the movie, and it looked like the old Saturday morning Fantastic Four cartoon. But yeah, compared to the rest of the MCU movies, is it the best? No. Is it good? I mean, is it at least in the, better half? Yes.
I would say if you're a fan of Fantastic Four, absolutely check this out.
Yeah, it's way better than, if you compare it to Fantastic Four movies, it's the best. If you compare it to the Marvel movies, it's like a cigar. It's medium plus. It's in the higher categories, but it's probably not the best. It's maybe in the, what we got, 25, 30. I'd say it's in the top 10.
But I will say that it is nice that we're finally doing something more than just, the big, Captain America's or, the Avengers. It's nice that some of the other properties are, hey, we're still a thing, and so in that
And eventually we'll get our X-Men in the Marvel universe, other than just Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, as we kind of bring this episode into a landing,
I see what you did there.
Final thoughts here on this here Stokk cigar, however you pronounce this. It's a pretty good blend. I'd say it's on that medium plus side, but the flavor transition, it starts off very like earthy and then kind of transitions into more of a smoky flavor like those Kentucky Fire, but not overpoweringly smoky. It doesn't taste like I'm huffing a campfire. Whatever those other, like, I think Honduran tobaccos they put in there to kind of mix up, mutes that smokiness enough where it's enjoyable and not overpowering.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick a couple of those up.
Yeah, I've not, there's not a lot of CAO cigars that tends to be, them and Punch tend to be some of my usual go-to cigars. So I've not been disappointed with any of them so far. And these kind of Arcana series have been different in a good way. I guess that's the whole point of it, to whatever, focus on unique blends that most people don't use. But yeah, this one's cool because, like I said, it has that transition of flavors from the first to the last, and it has kind of a cool Viking looking aesthetic on the box and the label. So if you're into that thing, check it out. And we'll be right back with Blowing Smoke. And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com and on the ESO Network, esonetwork.com. And don't forget, smoke them if you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.